finally promised to wear the feather just to please us. Well, he didn't.
And now that what Harajala predicted has happened.
Harajala's predictions always happen.
Harajala?
How did you get in here?
You've always taken me for a fraud. There's but one entrance to this room.
But you didn't come in that way.
No, I didn't, did I? How observing you are, Ruby.
What do you want?
Why, I just thought I should speak to you as a friendly gesture.
Speak to us about what?
About the white feather with the spots of blood.
Well?
It's a pity that Flyer Sampson ignored my warning.
Got it.
The copper's right.
Good dog.
Flyer was murdered.
To the contrary, you saw him misjudge his distance, brush the trapeze rope with his shoulder, and become twisted in its coils. Yes, exactly. Because he refused to take my warning. I told the three of you.
Excellent.
Wear the white feather of a baby swan, spotted with the blood of a dove, lest a horrible fate overtake you.
He did say that, Parker.
Flyer Sampson only laughed. Even when I gave him the feather for his own protection, he laughed.
But he took it.
Because I compelled him to.
But the feather isn't in his dressing room. Oh, where is it?
I have it.
You?
Yes. Here, you see.
Where did you get it?
Fly from Flyer Sampson, naturally.
He gave it back to you?
Oh, no. I gave the matter much thought.
Mystery in the Air, starring Peter Lawrence, presented by Camel Cigarettes.
Because I compelled him.
The feather isn't in his dressing room. Oh, where is it?
I have it.
You?
Yes. Here, you see.
Where did you get it?
Fly from Flyer Sampson, naturally.
He gave it back to you?
Oh, no. I gave the matter much thought. I disliked his laughing at me. I told him what I saw in his future. I told him that he, and you, Barker, and Ruby, all have the same fate. Death by hanging. And that fate...
So this guy made sure he had everything he needed before he started his camping trip in that little shack up top. Double-checked his list and everything. And that's why they call it being the road.
What was that?
Now, Autolite and its 60,000 dealers and service stations present
Suspense. Tonight, Autolite brings you Mr. Ralph Edwards in Ghost Hunt, a suspense play produced and directed by Anton M. Leader.
Friends, replace worn-out narrow-gap spark plugs with a set of those new wide-gap Autolite resistor spark plugs. Your motor will idle smoother, give better performance on leaner gas mixtures, actually save gas. These winning benefits are all made possible by a newly developed Autolite 10,000-ohm resistor, built right into every Autolite resistor spark plug, making practical a wider spark gap setting, and that's what does the trick. What's more, Autolite resistor spark plugs with this exclusive Autolite resistor have greatly increased electrode life and cut down on radio and television interference. So, folks, see your Autolite dealer and have him replace old, worn-out, narrow-gap spark plugs with a set of the new Autolite resistor spark plugs. Remember, you're always right with Autolite.
And also remember, the Autolite Suspense Show is now on television.
Every Tuesday night in many parts of the country.
And now, Autolite presents Ralph Edwards in a tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
Yeah, didn't that leave you high, huh? Left me feeling treetop tall. That was Louis Armstrong's I Can't Give You Anything But Love. And that's all we have time for on the Hot and Mellow Hour tonight. Yes, this is Smiley Smith, your favorite disc jockey. I hope, booting the Hot and Mellow Hour home for this evening. I'll be back again tomorrow night, minus the music, but with a little surprise for you. Tomorrow night, Friday night, as you know, is stunt night here at station WXP, and have I got a stunt for you. Last week, if you remember, I planted my wire recorder in the steam room at a ladies' Turkish bath, and Lennon pledged to Well, tonight, as soon as I leave the studio, do you know where I'm going? Your friend Smiley. You heard me. A spook hunt in a haunted house. I'm bringing my little old wire recorder along with me, and if you tune in tomorrow evening at this time, you'll learn what it's like to spend a night in a haunted house. Ain't that something? A real haunted house. No kidding. 4 people are known to have committed suicide there. So tune in tomorrow night and share a real thrill with your old pal Smiley, I must be crazy, Smith. Good night.
Care for a cigar, Mr. Thorpe? I got some cigars in the dash there.
No.
Well, no reason for you to carry a chip on your shoulder, Mr. Thorpe.
Oh, really? Well, I don't like this fool stunt.
Well, I don't see it as a fool stunt at all. I really don't. I think it's the only way you're going to unload this house. Ordinary selling methods won't work in a case like this. Now, don't forget the reputation saddling this house. 4 suicides since 1939. You know what people call it. The death trap.
Yes. It's a lot of nonsense.
Sure, but try to convince people of that. Anyway, when this disc jockey offered me this chance to kill all the rumors about the about the property, I just naturally jumped and took him up at it. Especially since it don't cost a cent.
You sure about that? I'm not liable for a penny.
Not a cent. We're doing him a favor, letting him use the place, he said. Thanked me for the chance last night when I drove him out here. So one hand washes the other, as the feller says. He got a chance to pull off a stunt, and the wire recording will prove the people the property's ain't #1, and we increase the chance of selling the place.
Well, as long as it doesn't cost me anything.
Not a cent. He's using his own recorder, and I'm paying for the rental of a couple of walkie-talkies he hooked up to it.
Well, what about this, Reed? Does he charge anything?
He comes gratis, too. Dr. Reed is whatchamacallit, psychic investigator. Belongs to a couple of societies that do nothing but hunt ghosts. He showed me articles he's written about it in their magazine. Well, here's the house. Yeah, looks real nice in the sunshine, don't it? Yeah, man, smell that sea breeze.
You don't have to sell me. Well, let them know we're here.
Yeah. Probably asleep up all night and everything.
don't they come out? Do you think they've gone?
Well, I told them last night I'd pick them up around 11. Smith! Smith! Hey, Smiley! Dr. Reed! Yeah, fast asleep, I guess. We better go in and wake him up.
Of course, they may have taken the bus back to town.
No. It's a 2-mile hike, the main highway. Smith! Hey, Smiley. Where are you? Wake up.
You don't suppose... do you?
No. Smith. Dr. Reed.
What's that clicking noise from in there?
Wire recorder. He left it running. Machines cost a lot of money. Doesn't he care if he uses up his batteries?
Well, where is he? And where's this Reed?
Maybe they're upstairs. Smith! Hey! Wouldn't have left his machine.
Well, where are they? Where are they?
Get excited, Mr. Thorpe.
Don't tell me not to get excited. In my house, I'm liable.
You try this side, I'll try that.
All right.
Smith. Hey, Smiley. Smith.
Oh. McDonald, come here.
What? What it? Oh, no. Reed. Dr. Reed. Don't get your hands off. Good. Locked. Is he dead? I can still feel his pulse. We better get him to hospital fast. Care for a cigar, Mr. Thorpe?
No, thanks.
Well, why not try to relax? The nurse said Reed would be all right as soon as he's had a blood transfusion.
You told the radio station to be sure and call us as soon as they had any word about Smith?
Yes, I told him. Why don't you sit down?
No, I'm all What do you suppose happened out there last night?
Well, we're going to know in just a second, just as soon as I can get this.
You don't suppose Smith and Reed got into a fight, do you?
Yeah, there. Huh? Fight? I don't.
Well, what's wrong? Won't it work?
Yeah, it works. Take it easy.
1, 2, 3. Testing. 1, 2, 3. Testing. 1, 2, 3. All set, Dr. Reed? Mr. McDonald, hey? Okay, here we go. This is Smiley Smith speaking. Smiley Smith, the ghost hunter. I don't know whether to hope this will turn out to be a success for the sake of the program or a failure for my own sake. Anyway, all the preparations are made now, and it's up to the speed. I better tell you where we are. Right now, we're standing on the lawn of a house about 12 miles above Malibu Beach. The ocean is 100 feet away, straight down. The house is perched on a cliff, and there's a sheer drop of about 100 feet right into the old Pacific. Maybe you can hear the surf pounding. I'll turn up the volume. Hear it? I'm going to have you meet two gentlemen who are here with me. Incidentally, we're the only people around for miles and miles. First, I'd like you to meet Dr. Clarence Reed of the British and American Psychical Research Guild. Dr. Reed is a famous investigator of psychic phenomena, and I'm very honored to be associated with him on this ghost hunt. He's smiling in an embarrassed sort of way.
You're much too kind, Mr. Smith.
Dr. Reed has conducted experiments in this field with such great believers in spiritualism as Oliver Lodge and Arthur Conan Doyle. He looks a bit like Santa Claus. He's short, stocky. You don't object, do you, Dr. Reed?
No, indeed.
And he has a magnificent white beard, a truly great beaver. Dr. Reed is so enthusiastic about ghost hunting that he got out of a sick bed this evening to be with us.
Excuse me. My lungs. I was gassed in the First World War.
Yeah. Anyway, Dr. Reed and I are here on the lawn looking at the house. Can't see much. It's around 11 p.m. now. Seems to be a rambling sort of house, 2 stories high. since it was built, there have been 4 suicides here. Is that right?
That's right.
Now, into the mic, so, yeah.
4 suicides since 1939.
I better tell them who you are so they won't think you're a ghost. Standing with the doc and me is a real estate agent, Mr. Charles McDonald. He handles this property, and he can tell you a lot more about it than I can.
Well, the house was built by a man named Marcus, Toby Marcus, an orange grower. Built the house as a wedding present for his wife. Months after they moved in, she took her own life. On the day of her funeral, he committed suicide the same way. There have been 2 other cases since then, and
Did they all jump into the ocean?
Yeah, all 4 of them, right over there.
Yeah.
The last one was actually seen doing it about 3 years ago. He was seen running like all get out the edge of the cliff, and he was shouting and laughing and yelling as though there was people at his side running right along with him.
You kidding?
No, it's a fact. He was laughing and yelling and running, and when he got to the edge, right over there, he jumped and never came above water.
As good an argument against cold baths as ever I've heard.
Since then, people just refuse to live in this house. Silly, I call it. Anyway, if you and Dr. Reed find any sign of a spook, I'll advise the owner to pull the house down and rebuild. But if you don't find anything, I'm hoping this will convince folks that here's a real buy. Well, okay, Mr. Smith, you and the doctor are on your own. I'll be by in the morning to pick you up around 11.
Goodbye, Miss McDonald. I hope there's something left for you to pick up. I guess Dr. Reed and I ought to begin. I don't believe in ghosts, never have. I'm set on looking for them. This is a dandy place to do it.
Why do they always gotta fight
So
back?
long. McDonald just checked out. Then there were 2. Well, 3. Oh, my dog, yeah. Folks, I have my dog, Jeff, with me. He's a wire-haired terrier, 3 years of age, and he can talk. Yeah, say hello, Jeff. Come on, Jeff, say hello. Come on.
You did what you had to do.
Well, anyway, he's a wire-haired terrier, and he's 3 years old. Shall we go inside now, Dr. Reed? Now, how do we hunt ghosts, Doctor? How do we do it, huh?
Well, we don't really hunt them. If there should be any in the house, they will be.
How cozy.
And please, not ghosts. Do not refer to them as ghosts. We know them as...
Now, remember, I have no desire to hurt their feelings. Where ghosts are concerned, I say live and let live. Well, we've opened the front door now. Maybe you heard the hinge squeak a little. Now we're standing here looking in. Can't see much. Smells sort of musty and damp. What's the matter, Jeff? What's the matter, boy? Jeff! Oh, come on now, come on. My dog seems to object to entering this house. He has all 4 feet braced, and he's straining against the leash.
Perhaps he senses something we don't.
Like apparitions, maybe?
Perhaps. It's not unusual. Animals lack the veneer of sophistication we humans possess, and are more sensitive to such emanations.
Yeah, come on, Jeff. Now, stop this nonsense. He probably smells a mouse or rat or something. Come on, Jeff. We're going in whether you like it or not. Well, there's a short entrance hall, and over there at the end of it is a flight of stairs leading to the 2nd floor. Jeff! And over here at the left is what seems to be a large reception room. We're entering this large room now. There are windows over there, French windows, and through them I can see the ocean. The electricity hasn't been turned on, so all I have to see by is a flashlight. Not a very powerful one at that. Dr. Reed is now adjusting his walkie-talkie. It's hooked up to my recorder so that he can cut in while he's hunting and tell us what he's found. Here's a few words from Doc before he sets forth on his investigation through the house.
Ladies and gentlemen, excuse me. Mr. Smith has introduced me as a ghost hunter. He spoke, I think, in a spirit of skepticism and levity. I'd like to assure you all that my purposes here are serious. I have spent my entire life seeking reliable proof of the appearances of apparitions.
Have you ever seen any, ever?
I have seen phenomena which lead me to believe in the possibility of their existence, although I have never seen any. I account myself sensitive to the evidence of their existence. This house, for example, affects me profoundly. It doesn't seem to affect you in the same way.
I'm not too happy about all this, if that's what you mean.
You are not psychic, and therefore not sensitive to these matters as I am. I imagine the question in the minds of those of you listening to us is, shall we find apparitions? I don't know. But I feel they are here, and that they are evil. I sense danger. I shall soon know.
Dr. Reed's leaving the room now to make a tour of the house. First thing I'm going to do is open the windows and let some fresh air in. Feels better already. Cooler anyway. I know that. Ow! A bat just flew into the room. I think it's a bat, not a bird. I didn't actually see it, just its shadow as it fanned my face. There it is again. It touched me as it passed.
Jeff, come back here. Jeff, you fool dog, come back here.
Dr. Reed? Dr. Reed? Dr. Reed!
For suspense, Autolite is bringing you Mr. Ralph Edwards in radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense.
Hello, snap out of it.
Huh? I'm reading a letter about the new wide gap Autolite resistor spark plugs, Hap.
Oh?
It's from Mrs. Clark Perry right here in Hollywood. She says our 1948 station wagon has given constant trouble. Finally, the garage man said all the difficulty was spark plugs, and he installed a set of Autolite resistor spark plugs. Now the car runs beautifully. The very first time my husband has been really pleased.
Well, smart garage man.
Smart people to take his advice. Hap, you know, as more and more people learn about wide gap Autolite resistor spark plugs and how they make an engine idle smoother, give better performance on leaner gas mixtures, actually save on gas, why then more people will replace old, worn-out, narrow gap spark plugs with sensational new wide gap Autolite resistor spark plugs.
Any more letters like that, Harlow?
Plenty, Hap, plenty. Why, here's another one from New York City.
Read it to me later, Harlow. We haven't time because here's suspense.
And now, Autolite brings back to our Hollywood soundstage Ralph Edwards as Smiley Smith in Ghost Hunt. A tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
Jeff, come back here. Jeff, you fool dog, come back here.
Dr. Reed?
Dr. Reed! Dr. Reed! Reed speaking. What is it, Smith?
Jeff has run off. My dog, he jumped through the window and ran off.
Oh, so? I told you he said something about this house, didn't I?
Yeah, you want to come and see if you can determine what it was exactly that set him off?
Soon. I am making my way slowly up the stairs toward the second floor now. I'm halfway up. I'll be down with you soon.
Folks, my dog's run away. You probably heard him howling. He jumped through the window and took off. Never did anything like that before. Frightened by the bat, I guess. Personally, alone here in this big room, I can understand how he must have felt. This isn't a cheerful spot by any means. I may not be psychic, but I sure have a feeling this house doesn't want us here.
Read again. Excuse me. I have something of great interest to report. I'm now standing in an alcove on the second floor trying to recover my breath. As I reached the head of the stairs, I felt what I think is a definite psychic manifestation. I felt that's the only way I can describe it. At the same time, I began to perspire. My head is still swimming slightly, and I have difficulty in swallowing. My pulse rate is around 110 in a minute. The sense of evil is very strong. I feel very, what shall I say, profoundly depressed.
Do you want me up there?
I do. I prefer to remain up here alone. The presence of a disbeliever such as you might interfere with my investigation.
Folks, I'd like you to get a picture of what it's like here. It's very quiet, for one thing. I've never been in such a quiet place. And it's pretty dark. No light except my flashlight. Tell you what, you go now and douse all the lights you have. Go ahead, put out the lights, and that'll give you a feeling. Hey, did you hear that? The real estate agent told me I'd probably hear rats and mice in the walls. Well, I can certainly hear them now. Even you can hear them, I think. It's as though...
Dr. Reed speaking. I've been working my way toward the front room, the one directly above the one between now, the vibrations have become... I'm on the verge of an
important discovery. Did you get that? Now I can hear Dr. Reed moving about in the room above. I don't suppose you can. Have a try anyway, huh? Hear him? I hope he finishes his investigation soon, because, quite frankly, I'd like to get out of here. I can well imagine people becoming unhinged in this place. Right now, I find myself pretty jumpy. Not being very brave, am I? Being alone in this room down here does it. This dark
to make this hurried report before continuing with the investigation in this room. I have carefully sounded out all the parts in this room, and the emanations are most strong from what appears to be a closet, before which I am now standing. As soon as I open the door to this closet, I will have, I think, a thing of great interest to communicate. I find no key to the lock, and so I will attempt to remove the hinges with my penknife, and I will tell you what I find when I open it.
I'll tell you what it would cost to get me to open that door.
You again.
In the basement at Fort...
Here to trade.
There's that bat again. It seems to like me the way it keeps... Each time it passes, it touches
I got
my
a little
face or
bit of
my neck
everything.
with its wings. Smelly things, bats. I don't suppose they bathe very often, if at all. I wonder how... Get away, you bat! That bat'll be the death of me. Yeah, it's like a jingle, isn't it? Bat'll be the death of me, the death of me, the death of me. Bat'll be the death of me. It isn't far from London. No, that isn't the way it goes. It's come down to Q in lilac time, in lilac time, in lilac time. Come down to Q in lilac time. It isn't far. I haven't thought of that since I was a kid in grammar school. Gee, I had a lonely childhood when you come right down to it. I mean, that's my affair, isn't it? Yes, it is. It most certainly is.
I have succeeded in removing the hinges to the door, and I find inside it is not a closet, but much larger. It is, I think, a dressing room. I have not yet been inside, but I am about to enter.
What was I talking about? Oh, yeah, bats. Well, the bat flying back and forth in this room is... Did you hear that? Did you hear it? Dr. Reed must have knocked something over in the dressing room. A chair, yeah, a heavy chair by the sound of it. The chair, or whatever it was, must have fallen right over my head. That's the way it sounded. I can see a small stain forming right on the ceiling, right over my head. Something ran across my foot just a rat, I think it was. I've always hated rats. Most people do, of course. That stain up there bothers me. It's gotten so big so soon. I think I'll take a chance and bother Reed and ask him what it is. Dr. Reed. Reed, can you hear me? Are you all right? Hello? Well, he didn't answer. I think he's just a little bit deaf. I think so. What do you suppose he's found, huh? I'm afraid this is rather dull for you listeners. I'm not finding it so, of course. There. I heard him cough. Did you hear that cough? Hope he's all right. He got out of a sick bed to come here this evening, you know. He was gassed in the First World War, and this place is beginning to get on my nerves a wee bit. Just a teensy-weensy bit.
Reed, speaking,
Hello? He switched off. That's the bad cough he's got. I feel so lonely. I've been alone so much in my life. Not so much now, of course, but when I was younger, I was alone so much of the time. You know, struggling to get ahead, living in a hall bedroom, wondering where my next meal is coming from. I get the blues just remembering it. Seem sad, young people having to spend so much time alone. Sad for old people, too, of course. I'm saying of course a lot. Of course I am. Hey, that stain on the ceiling, it's grown amazingly. It's actually beginning to drip. I mean, form bubbles. It'll start dropping soon. Colored bubbles, they seem to be. Odd-shaped stain, like a body lying on its back with its arms stretched out. It's cheerful. Oh. I'll certainly advise Mr. McDonald to have this place pulled down. I'll go upstairs in a minute or two to see how Dr. Reed's making out. You know, listeners, I really believe I'd go completely crazy if I had to stay here much longer. Wears you down. That's exactly what it does. It wears you down. It's so close and musty in here. I feel sort of trapped. I don't know why I said that. That's what they call this place, you know, the death trap. There, what did I tell you? That stain started to drip, drop, drip, drop, drip, drop, drip, drop, drip. I'll catch the next one in my hand. Let's go. Reed! Dr. Reed! I'm going upstairs now, listeners. I'm afraid something has happened to Dr. Reed. I'm not kidding now. I mean, this is on the level. Which room could it be now? Right? No, right. This is it, I think. Oh, evening, gentlemen. And madam? I'm so glad to see you. I was just aching to see somebody. Anybody. I've been so lonely down there. What have you done with the doctor, huh? I know he's been hurt. See the color of the bubble on my hand? What have you done with him? Make way, please, gentlemen. Make way. Well, this isn't the funniest darn thing. This can't be Dr. Reed lying here. He didn't have a red beard. Now, don't crowd me, gentlemen. Don't crowd me, please. Huh? You want me to go where with you? You want me to do what? Speak up, gentlemen. To the cliffs. Down to the cliffs? You mean right now? well, all right, if you'll come with me. I don't want to be alone anymore. You will come with me? All of you? All four of you? You too, ma'am? Oh, good. Come on, then. To the cliff. To the cliff. To the cliff. To the...
He jumped over the cliff. He jumped over the cliff. MacDonald, he jumped over...
Mr. MacDonald, Mr. Thorpe, you may come in to see Dr. Reed now.
What? Uh-huh.
Dr. Reed is conscious. You may see him now.
Is he able to talk?
Just for a few minutes. In here.
Come in. Come in, gentlemen. How are you, Dr. Reed?
We've been waiting to see you.
Yes, and I must apologize, gentlemen. I had a most unfortunate accident. Hemorrhage.
Hemorrhage?
Yes. My lungs, you know. Now, gentlemen.
Hemorrhage? Dr. Reed, what happened in that house? What happened to Smith? We've just been listening to a playback of the recordings you made out there.
Smith? Well, isn't he with you?
We've just heard the recording, Dr. Reed. Smith jumped over the cliff. Into the ocean.
Oh, that poor boy.
Dr. Reed, will you please tell us what happened? From what we heard on the recording, there were ghosts in that house.
Ghosts? I didn't see any ghosts.
But Smith, what about him?
If he went over the cliff, it was fear that drove him over.
But,
gentlemen, I didn't see any ghosts. As for that unfortunate young man, who can say now what he saw or thought he saw?
Thank you, Ralph Edwards, for displaying your versatility by appearing as guest star on Suspense.
Say, Harlow, that Edwards does everything.
Hap, no does. Don't use that word on our Autolite show.
Oh, come now, Harlow. I can make you use that word, as you call it.
How?
Now, don't you say that Autolite resistor spark plugs make your car engine idle smoother?
Yes, but...
And your car gives better performance on leaner gas mixtures. Saves gas.
Sure does. I mean, does.
Aren't we devils?
Ralph, you tricked me. Well, anyhow, it does my heart good to tell people that Autolite resistor spark plugs are ignition engineered by Autolite, which makes more than 400 products for cars, trucks, airplanes, and boats in 28 plants from coast to coast. Autolite also makes complete electrical systems for many makes of America's finest cars. Batteries, spark plugs, generators, starting motors, spark plug wire, battery cable, coils, distributors. All ignition engineered to fit together perfectly, work together perfectly because they're a perfect team. The lifeline of your car. So, folks, don't accept electrical parts that are supposed to be as good. Remember, you're right with Autolite.
And now here again is Ralph Edwards.
I want to thank Tony Leader and his great cast of actors for helping to make my appearance on Suspense a very pleasant consequence. Like all of you, I'm a great Suspense fan, and I'm looking forward to next week when radio's outstanding theater of thrills brings you Joseph Cotton in The Day I Died, another gripping study in
Suspense.
Tonight's suspense play was adapted for radio by Walter Newman from an original story by H.R. Wakefield with music composed by Lucien Moraweck and conducted by Lud Gluskin. The entire production was under the direction of Anton M. Leader. Make it a point to listen next Thursday to Suspense, radio's outstanding theater of thrills. Remember, next Thursday, same time, hear Joseph Cotton in The Day I Died.
You can buy Autolite resistor spark plugs, Autolite stay full batteries, Autolite electrical parts at your neighborhood Autolite dealers. Switch to Autolite. Good night.
This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Tired.
tired of the everyday routine? Ever dream of a life of romantic adventure? Want to get away from it all?
We offer you Escape. Escape, designed to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure.
Tonight, we escape to a lonely lighthouse off the steaming jungle coast of French Guiana and a nightmare world of terror and violence as we bring you again, in response to hundreds of requests, 3 Skeleton Key, starring Vincent Price.
Picture this place. A gray tapering cylinder welded by iron rods and concrete to the key itself. A bare black rock, 150 feet long, maybe 40 wide. That's at low tide. At high tide, just the lighthouse, rising 110 feet straight up out of the ocean.
It's my friend Murphy.
All about it, the
can you check
churning
on
water, gray-green, scum-dappled, warm as soup, and swarming with gigantic bat-like devils.
It's the big yellow building
great violet schools of Portuguese man-of-war, and yes, sharks, the big ones, the 15-footers. And as if this weren't enough, there was a hot, dank, rotten-smelling wind that came at us day and night off the jungle swamps of the mainland. A wind that smelled like death. A wind that had smelled the slow and frightful death that came one night to this bare black rock. Set in the base of the light was a watertight bronze door, and in you went, and up. Yes, up and round, past the tank of oil in the corner, rope racks and whips, racks of lanterns, sacks of fudge and cartons and cans, and up, round and round. Over the spice storeroom was the food room, and over the food storeroom was the bunk room where the 3 of us slept, and over the bunk room was the living and cooking room, over the living and cooking room, the light. She was a beauty, big steel and bronze baby with the sun gleaming through the glass walls all about, bouncing blinding little beams off the big shining reflectors, glittering and refracting through her lenses, the whole gigantic bulk of her balanced like a ballerina on the glistening steel axle of her rotary mechanism. She was a sweetheart of a light. Night would lie there on the stone deck of the gallery with her revolving smoothly and quietly over your head, easing her bright white eye 360 degrees around the horizon. You'd lie there watching to see that the feeders kept working, that everything ran right. And it wouldn't be bad, the other 2 fellows snoring in their sacks 2 levels down. You'd smoke your pipe to kill the stink of the wind, and it wouldn't be bad. About those other 2, Louis and Auguste. What a pair. Louis, he was head man, was a big fellow from the Basque country, black beard, little hard black eyes, and a pair of arms that I tell you, those arms were as big around as my legs. Yes, head man he was, and what word he let go was law. A silent fellow, and although I spent my first 2 weeks trying to strike up a real conversation, the most I could ever get out of him was...
John, I took up this profession because I don't like people. They want to talk too much. It's quiet work.
Everybody, got some news.
That way.
Followed by...
You're getting to be as bad as Auguste.
Flashes, blinding flashes.
But maybe for once there can be somebody
That was the way.
We're
When he
trying to get
accused me of
confirmation.
becoming like
We
August,
seem to have
I
lost
quieted
contact with our
down
affiliate
because
stations.
August was the talkingest man I'd ever met.
We do have
The
coming
talkingest and
in.
the
That's
ugliest. He was
confirmed
hunchbacked,
reports.
stood
I
4
repeat,
feet high,
confirmed
had
reports
red
of
hair and big
nuclear
blue eyes.
detonations in New York.
It seems he's been an actor.
Pennsylvania.
They used to throw things and hit and bear their teeth. Finally, it got too bad. I I couldn't face it any longer. I
It all started one morning at 2:30. I was on watch, lying on the cool stone bed, pulling on my pipe, staring out at the blackness, the phosphorescent combers, and the big yellow stars. When out of the corner of my eye, I noticed something show up for a second. Something the light had touched, far off. I waited for her to come around again, and when she did, there it was. A three-master, a big one, about a half-mile off, and coming down out of the north-northwest, coming straight for us. You must understand, our light was where it was for a very good reason. Dangerous submerged reefs surrounded us, and ships kept clear. But this one, this sailing vessel, was coming straight on. I went over to the gallery door and yelled, "Louis! Louis!" Couldn't understand it. I waited for the light to come around again.
What is it? Ship headed for the reef. Hurry right up.
Glasses out now. I couldn't read her name, but I could see her quite plainly. All sails set, the foam creaming away under her bow, her beautiful lines. A Dutch ship, I guessed her. But why didn't she turn? Every time it passed, our light hit her with the glare of day.
Ship? Where?
Northwest. The light will touch her in a moment.
Can't they see?
Look at her. She just keeps coming on.
Yeah, the squareheads.
What is it? What is it?
Watch northwest.
I know what it is.
Huh? What?
The Dutchman, the Flying Dutchman. We did a play about her once. Oh, what a performance. You Italian, hag-ridden, curse-riven, must
Will you? She's luffing.
Yes.
Sloppy way to come about. She's derelict, that's it.
Derelict?
Abandoned. The crew left her for some reason or other. But instead of sinking, she's gone on, running before every wind.
She'll not run long. Not with these reefs to break her up.
Beautiful ship. Now, why would men leave a beautiful ship like that?
She didn't ram us, although we all expected it. But as we waited for the crash, she luffed again, caught some odd gust, and went about. We watched her the rest of those black hours, heeling and rocking, pushed and pulled by every stray wind, every freak current. Watched her until the dawn came, till the sea turned from black to a pearly gray. On she came again, heading for us. We all had our glasses trained on her now.
August, you can kill the light.
Right, Chief?
She doesn't look so good by daylight. Think she'll ground this time? What? I say, do you think she'll ground this time? Huh?
This is impossible. Absolutely impossible.
What? Here.
Take my glasses. They're better than yours.
All right. And what is it you're... I had to focus, and then my breath froze in my throat. The decks were swarming with a dark brown carpet that looked like a gigantic fungus, but undulating. And on the masts and yards, the guys and all were hundreds, no thousands, I don't know, an endless number of enormous rats.
See them?
Yes, I see them.
Now we know why she's derelict.
Yes, now we know.
What are you two doing? Here, give me a look.
Yes, give him the glasses. Take a good look, chatterbox. Give you something to talk about.
She's...
Yes.
She's going to turn.
It's your business to know what you're putting in your child's bloated belly. That's why sugar bombs are engineered to please both your child and not damage his or her tender.
Where's all the
brain.
conversation, August?
So amazing.
Here, want the glasses again? Want another look?
Of course, Mother.
Sugar bombs are made with stimulants, nutrients, weaving taste and performance together in a cool breakfast cocktail that provide a day-to-day breakthrough in your child's life.
I can see the future.
Sugar bombs may last up to 12 hours. After that, it's anyone's guess. Buy 2 boxes and get a third half free until supplies last. Cereal has seldom been so crispy, so fresh from freezer style.
You bet we were scared. August, you get the windows. Maybe they can climb. We don't know.
Sugar bombs are built from the ground up to prime you for lunch.
Look. See them? No. Yes, I do. Up at the other end of the rock. Look at the Indians. They smell us. Here they come. Close the door. Can't. Here. Let me. Oh, move. You move. Heave.
Whoa, is that a... Nothing. Damn. What the...
Value is relative. Relatively, what is value? At Fallon's, each price represents our pact with the customer to bring things down to a manageable level of value that also takes luxury into account. Mass production techniques may have brought things up to speed, but it's time-honored, well-worn, oak and varnish tradition that really keeps things classic. Ah, that's progress.
Science would take progress tomorrow. Now, next week, an exciting new series begins, chronicling one man's journey into the mind of a communist. It's true. I've shrunk myself down with my atomic relay and managed to pass through space on a molecular level. Deep under the earth, I've built my fortress, an impregnable fortress that cannot be reached by normal means. I've called it the University. I have planned I have experimented. I implanted a control chip on the servants that allows them to pass through. Their brains. So much like what it means to be a communist. An astounding revelation of man's cruelty. Next week on The Brain of Dr. Darius Destardo.
is the nerve of you? Head upstairs to the top floor. I've got a proposition for you.
And don't worry, we'll play nice this time.
Get serious.
Gosh, this is awkward. Hey there. Let's chat later.
Gotta admit, I'm impressed. Stella here tells me this was all her little ruse. No hard feelings, huh? And a sense of humor, too. I like it. Sorry for any misunderstanding. We're a shoot first, ask questions later kind of place. Never can be too careful with looters breaking and entering these days.
Don't misunderstand. We're not criticizing you. Those were fair kills. You didn't know who we were, and we didn't know you from a random looter. Thankfully.
Hey, I was just trying to have a little fun.
That's rather presumptuous.
Well, that all depends. What kind of help are you looking for?
You ever get tired of shooting people?
Gotta admit, I'm impressed. Stella here tells me this was all her little ruse. No hard feelings, huh? And so, we're
Don't miss him. You did. Thank.
Yeah.
That's rather.
Well, that'll... All right. Stella, her dad was never in the picture, and until the Institute. I met Stella and her mom Judy after they fled to Quincy in 2285, and then the Quincy massacre. We can get into it. Let's just say that, but from our supposed friends who pretend to work for the... When the Minutemen betrayed Quincy, I managed to get Stella out.
And that traitor, I'm telling you, and now he's right down the street.
We've been over this. You want me to focus on keeping this, or waste time dealing with the loud?
Both. I want justice for what they did to my mom.
And like I explained, you'll get it if you have patience. Garvey will get what's coming to him eventually. But for now...
Prepare to be purple. That's exciting.
Live to fight another day. Sensei. Sorry for any misunderstanding.
Don't miss. You didn't know. Thank.
All right. I met Stella. But from
And now?
we've been. You want a waste?
Both.
And Garvey will get. Wait.
Lock and load!
Wrong caliber bullets. My goof. Beats working 9 to 5.
Gunner down! You're dead! Gunner down!
Fancy meeting you here, stranger.
What is wrong with you guys?
Damn it!
Keep your distance. I never did mind the little things.
Love attention.
being stupid enough to try.
Победы, как он был от нас далек, как в костре потухшем таял уголек. Были версты, обгорелые в пыли, этот день мы приближали, как могли. Этот день победы порохом пропах. Это праздник с сединою на висках. День победы, день победы, день победы. Ни ночи у мартеновских печей не смыкала наша Родина очей. Ни ночи битву трудную вели, этот день мы приближали, как могли. Этот день победы порохом пропах. Это праздник с сединою на висках. Это радость со слезами на глазах. День победы, день победы, день победы. Ла-ла-ла-ла, ла-ла-ла-ла-ла-ла, ла-ла-ла-ла-ла-ла-ла-ла-ла-ла-ла-ла. Здравствуй, мама. Возвратились мы не все, босиком бы пробежаться по росе. Пол Европы прошагали, пол земли. Этот день мы приближали, как могли. Этот день победы порохом пропах. Это праздник с сединою на висках. Это радость со слезами на глазах. День победы, день победы, день победы. Это день победы порохом пропах. Это праздник с сединою на висках. Это радость со слезами на глазах. День победы, день победы, день победы.
Свободные ворота,
Thanks for your help. Didn't expect help from a stranger. I don't know what would have happened if you hadn't been. You can say that again. I guess it could have been a lot worse. It's gonna get worse. Way worse. Gunners never back down that quick. They'll attack anyone they think is too weak to defend themselves. There's nothing left there. The only way things will get better is if we stand. I think with some work we can make a go of it. We could really use you. Now there's a question I don't get every day. You know what? Lead the way.
I was afraid those guys might show up. Thanks for your help. You all right? It's complicated. What do you know about the Gunners? It's a little more than just better honor, but I like your spirit. No one's really sure where the Gunners started out, but something changed about 8 or 9 years ago. Out of nowhere, they started sporting plasma weapons, advanced combat gear, and even vertibirds. Doesn't make any sense. Where did they get all that stuff from? People bitch about the Institute, but look at what's really been going on. Quincy, GNN, Mass Bay Medical, Mass Fusion, 2 vaults, and all the major freeways. It's the Gunners, not the Institute, who've been gaining the most ground in the Commonwealth.
No one invests the resources to capture those strategic locations without a larger agenda. Someone's behind it. We're just not sure who or what. At this point, there's not much to keep the Gunners from taking good...
You mean besides the fact that we just got ambushed here in Concord? There needs to be a group to stand up to these assholes. Someone strong, organized, and local. And I'm not talking about the Minutemen. I mean someone with real stones. Ultimately, you gotta ask yourself who you want protecting things. A bunch of Muppets who can't defend what's theirs, or hardened killers who can handle themselves.
Uncertainty is sometimes better than an overt threat. If you build a reputation for being a little crazy, your opponents are never sure what messing with you will cost. So, they tend to avoid finding out.
Settlers can't instill that kind of fear. Whether it's against raiders, synths, mercs, super mutants, or even mole rats. They've proven time and again that they're incapable of deterring threats to their property over the long term. The Minutemen worked for a while, but they ended up self-destructing. Depends who you ask. The challenge with running a militia is that volunteers inevitably have their own agendas. For a coalition to last, there needs to be a chain of command where members don't feel too constrained by your influence.
But still fear you enough to follow your lead.
Maintaining morale requires convincing soldiers to think less about themselves and more about the group. Involve them in a cause, a crusade against a hated enemy, and make them see their survival as tied to the success of the militia as a whole.
Of course, it's easier said than done.
Somewhere along the way, we lost that sense of common purpose. Infighting took over, and the militia gradually splintered into different groups. Some became raiders or joined the Gunners. Others just disappeared. Quincy was the final blow, and now we're back at square one. Whether it's the Gunners, the Institute, or who knows what other groups are out there, they're too powerful to take on directly. So we've got to use our weaknesses as strengths.
If your enemy is big and you're small, then by extension, you're fast and they're slow. You're hidden and they're exposed.
So we break our forces into independent cells who can operate elusively and autonomously, fighting only the battles we know we can win, capturing the enemy's weapons and gear along the way.
And using those tools against them in the next encounter. That way, the enemy is supplying us, and we grow stronger as they grow weaker.
The Gunners are calculated and cautious. It's gonna take them a while to figure out what just happened, which provides us an opening. The critical elements in any campaign are speed and adaptability, making decisions faster than the enemy can.
Striking first, before the Gunners have time to assess and formulate a response, may throw them off balance. Their nearest outpost is up on the freeway, southeast of Walden Pond. That's likely where the attack came from. The freeway wasn't particularly well guarded to begin with. Probably even less so after the raid.
I want you to head over there, take out their remaining guards, and steal their weapons, so we can fortify our presence here in Concord. Prove to me you can handle that task, and I'll have a larger project for you when you return.
And if you want bonus points, there's rumor of a raider's stash over by Corvega. We'll mark the location on your map.
I can patch you up if you need it. For a small fee, of course. Let's see what I can spare. Oh, you got to be kidding.
buy and sell. Just put up everything you got and let's see if we can make a deal.